In this episode of All In with Allie, we are going to be talking about whether your mind is creating you or destroying you, the difference between the two, and how to know for sure in which direction you are headed. Let's go. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. It's been a hot minute since I've actually sat down to record. It's actually been a couple of weeks. I did a couple of in-person interviews 2 weeks ago now with Julie Solomon and Alyssa Rosenheck. And if you have not listened to those episodes, they are a couple of episodes ago now. Please go listen to them. They are incredible conversations with exquisite women. They were so open and vulnerable and really, man, I mean, I could not have been happier with the conversations. And with the exception of, one interview that I did with, Rachel Van Clive, where we just randomly, Rachel Van Clive, she is the creator of Creighton Cottage. She lives 5 minutes down the road. So when I wanted to have her come on and do the homeschool episode that we did a few months ago, I was like, let's do it in my office. And we set it up and you can go and see. And it was very scrappy and, it worked out fine, but it wasn't the best in-person vibe. But with the last episodes that were in person with Julie and Alyssa, we got an Airbnb. It was beautiful. We had the whole setup. We had 8 phones going and recording at the same time to get different angles and lights and the mics and the whole thing. But in order to do that, we were using all of my equipment. My team had some of it that they brought. I'm very fortunate that Philip and Caitlin live in the same area of Nashville. Well, they live around Nashville like I do. So they were able to come in and assist with the in-person situation. Thank you, God, because looking back, I never would have been able to do that on my own. But anyway, most of it was my equipment. It was my mics. It was my stands. It was my some of my lighting, the sound box, everything that I used to record that I'm using right now, we had to disassemble and bring with us to this Airbnb to do the in-person. And then we had to break it all down. And I was like, I will never be doing that again. So one of my big goals with this podcast is I really, really want some sort of in-person studio. I'm manifesting it. I don't know if it's something that I'm just renting. I really want it to be my own vibe. So I want it to be more than just this co-recording space, because there are, it's Nashville. We have plenty of those. So I want it to be mine-ish or mine totally. So we're figuring that out, but there's just something about, if you can, being able to sit face to face and just having a real conversation, And anyway, where I was going with that was I had to take down all my equipment and basically tear up my in-person studio. And finally today I was like, okay, I've got to sit down and record more episodes because, well, we need them. And I had an interview today with Bree Groves, which went out last week not as I record this, but as you listen to this. And yeah, putting back this studio. I know why I waited 2 weeks to do it, because me and tech, I'm FaceTiming Philip, help, where does this wire go? Why aren't my headphones working? Why isn't this mic doesn't work. Can I use this mic? And he's like, oh my God, bless your heart. But here we are. I am recording on a platform that I normally don't do solo episodes on. So I prayed that that's working because I couldn't get the other one to work. But here we are. How are you doing? How are you doing, really? Let me tell you where I'm at. Okay. Let me just give you a glimpse into my psyche. Last night, when I laid my pretty little head down to go to sleep, exhausted, I prayed to God, God, please let me wake up happier tomorrow. I swear that's so sad, but like, that's where I'm at. Man, it's just like so a culmination of so many things, but like, I'm I'm a great mom, but right now I feel like a very lazy mom because my 1-year-old Rhett is not sleeping. I mean, he does, like, he sleeps, so he wakes up a lot. And I think I've shared with you before, we co-sleep with him. And there's a part of me, like, I started co-sleeping with him because I was so exhausted. That was the easiest thing to do, right? Because I could just put him in bed with me, give him a boob, go back to sleep. Perfect. But then you kind of create this co-sleeping monster. And on one hand, I'm like, okay, this is going to be my last baby. Soak it up. I really do feel like it's been really good for me postpartum. Just like something about that has been really comforting and nice for me. And at the same time, when I tell you I wake up 40 times a night and I've adjusted to it, which is scary. Like I used to be one of those people that prides themselves on their sleep. I used to like, I would fall asleep instantly. I can still fall asleep instantly, and falling asleep is never the issue. But I used to like never wake up. I would sleep like a freaking baby, but now I'm used to. And even when he does have a good bout of sleep, I find myself waking up because my body is getting adjusted to waking up every hour, 2 hours. So it's like, okay, Allie, so sleep train your child. Thank you, Katie. I've thought of that. I've bought courses. I recently enrolled him in sleep school, but back to the lazy mom part. This is going to sound so stupid. It's so much work to it's going to like, okay, the sleep school. So I signed him up for Patel Sleep School, which ain't cheap, by the way. But I'm like, okay, we're doing this. But then it's like, you got to watch all of these videos and then it's like step by step and you can't fast forward steps and you have to like, it's just so many steps. And you're looking at 2 solid weeks of hell before you see any slice of heaven, right? And I just don't have it in me. I don't have it in me. And Chris will give me a hard time. He'll be like, hey, we could sleep train. I'm like, yeah, you could too. So not letting you off the hook of that. Does it feel like I need to talk to somebody right now? I'm just like giving y'all all the juice today, but it feels right. So anyway, so I was praying last night because I just feel like the past few days I've been in such a mood. Definitely to, a lack of sleep. By the way, we are going to finish the Patel thing for sure. It's just, I think, I don't know, maybe over the holiday, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe I'll just like eventually he'll get out of there, right? But where was I going with that? Oh, praying to be happy. Yeah. So I did. I prayed to be happy just because I feel like I've been in more of a negative space. Tax season is upon us. Oh my gosh. Holy moly. Listen, let me give you some advice, okay? Pull up a chair. Make your quarterly tax payments because you don't have to. They advise you to for a reason, and you don't have to. And you probably want to because what I thought we would owe in taxes, not even close. So we're figuring that out. I still think it's wrong. I'm still in full denial and delusion around it. So, life is lifing and things are also really great at the same time. It's full on duality. But I am happy to report that I did wake up today better. We did sleep more. I did this thing where when he started crying last night, instead of instantly putting him in bed, I actually sat down, fed him, put him back in the bassinet in the room versus in bed with us. The reason why I don't do that is because I'm worried that I'm going to wake up and I won't be able to fall back asleep, but I was able to, and that actually helped a lot. So I think I'm going to start doing that, and that's going to ease us into eventually putting him in his room. So it's a start. And I woke up today feeling a lot better and excited to be here, excited to record. I mentioned a minute ago, had an incredible conversation with Bree Groves today. So if you haven't heard her story, like I said, that's, I think, the episode right before this one. Please go listen to that, because I know if I had heard her story at any point in my business journey, it would motivate me. I mean, it motivates me now. So anyway, let's talk about, speaking of waking up happy and moods and those sort of things, let's talk about today's topic, which is the fact that your mind is either creating you or destroying you. What does that mean? Well, your mind is either helping you and supporting you and pushing you and helping you take steps toward the things and the version of yourself that you want to show up as, right? So it's creating the level and then the level of reality and the results and the feelings that you actually want to feel, or it's not. It's the opposite. And I am proof, especially in this season, that like it goes back and forth, right? I catch this all the time. And if anybody's listening that's like me, it's this spiral, right? Like it can very easily take on a positive or a negative spiral. I actually heard, I can't remember who said this, but they were talking about how you think and the things you think about. Like if something were to come up and like a fear thought, right? You can either downward spiral from that thought and keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into it and further freak yourself out, or you can spiral up from it. And I really like the difference of those and like the visual of those, because that's what it feels like. And it very much is a choice in the matter. I know I used to think like, yeah, but I can't help how I feel. Well, yeah, but your feeling is dictated by some thought. You're feeling how you feel in a lot of cases, right? Like obviously we have hormones, we have things that happen in our life that are outside of our control. Like I'm not saying it's all completely in your control, but a lot of times when we are thinking about, let's just say business, for example, and how we feel about business, it's usually because of our belief around that thing at the time, or around what's happening at the time. And if you don't catch this and you're not intentional and cognizant of where you're at, am I creating or am I destroying? That's when you can get caught up in the spiral. And it can go from a couple hour spiral to a couple of days spiral to months to, next thing you know, wow, I've been feeling this way for 7 whole years. And we don't want to do that. Okay. So full transparency. And I've shared some of this, and I'm happy to share this because if I thought that success looked like always being happy and business always going perfectly and life always going perfectly and things not getting hard, if I thought that that's what success looked like, I would be in big trouble right now. But it's because people have been honest about how they feel and the different seasons of their life. And knowing like it's the people that I look up to that I've heard the whole story. And I've shared this before, but I'll share it again. I have a coach, Melanie. I'm in her high level mastermind. I'm on year 2 of her mastermind. And I shared like the reason why I ended up signing on with her and making this massive investment with her specifically is not because of all the success that she's created, but because of how she navigated the hard times. And I got to witness her navigate the hard times. She was open about it. She was honest about it. She didn't pretend things were always perfect, and she does such a beautiful job in this where she creates art from any place that she's at. And that I try and remember that all the time, because I really do think that's what we're meant to do, right? Like no matter like what kind of creator that you are, but especially if you want to be a leader in any regard, part of that is leading yourself when things are going really well and leading when things aren't going well, and being transparent and honest about both situations, because there's not one person on this planet that is not going to experience the hard thing. But if we all sit here and pretend that life is fucking peachy all the time and, oh, I'm sorry you're struggling, I've never struggled a day in my life, or yeah, I struggled in the beginning, but ever since I cracked 10K months, everything's great. It'd be like, wow, then I'm in big trouble, right? Then I must be the outlier and there's something wrong with me. So yeah, I feel like all of 2023 has been quite the season for me. And the way that I've shifted this for myself, purely, I think, out of survival, is I know that there's going to be a moment where I come back around, right? Where like I come back up and I find my stride again. I know that moment's coming, and it's going to be so much sweeter. And it's going to be so much more exciting, not only for me, but for you too, because you've witnessed what I've been going through for the past year. And you can be like, okay, cool. And next time you go through a season, you can say, oh, well, Allie had, a season, and look at her now, so like keep freaking going. And another way that I've shifted this too is just remembering that you grow through a lot of things, right? Like growth is happening all the time, but you grow more and faster during difficult moments, when things are difficult, when you're unsure, when you're feeling fear, or what you did isn't working and you thought it would. And I'm not saying that we need to look for difficult seasons or we need to glamorize difficult seasons by any stretch of the imagination, or that you need to go and create fake drama in your life or manifest drama in your life because you heard that this is the only way to grow or because it's relatable or whatever. I'm just saying that it's those seasons where you grow the most. So I'm just looking at it like I'm not on the other side of this yet. This year still feels like a grind, feels like a test, feels like an initiation. And I pray that the initiation is into a better, stronger, incredible business that I can't even fathom how incredible it's going to be. That's what I pray. And I don't know, it's just like this reframe, because that's what everything is, right? Like everything is a prove it moment. How bad do you want it? How much are you willing to work toward this? How much are you willing not to stop? And what I've found is like any season can be a winning season if you just stay in the game long enough to get through the shitty season, right? Like what goes up must come down and vice versa. Like it's going to come back around. Entrepreneurship is in waves. We've talked about this a million times. So you can't lose the game if you don't stop playing. So that just keeps me going. And I will say this too. If you're resonating with this and you're like, okay, like I hate to say you would have peace that like I'm struggling right now, but I kind of I get it. Like it feels good to know that you're not the only one who isn't floating on the clouds and bouncing on the rainbows. Like some people not pretend to be, some people are. Anyway, if you're resonating with this, one of the things that has brought me peace as well is a lot of businesses are going through it right now. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, I've had countless conversations with other women who are at the same level of me, bigger levels than me, who feel a shift in energy, who feel a shift in results, who, it's like, maybe it's not feeling as easy as it was last year or the year before. So we're not alone here. But I will say this is kind of the point. Like, this is why we're here. And that's what we need to remind ourselves of. Entrepreneurship is all about refinement and keeping things fresh and compounding and capitalizing when things work. But then as soon as they stop working, finding the new thing and allowing yourself to continue to evolve. This is how you stay in business. How many businesses can we think back on that have gone out of business because they tried to hold on with a death grip to the old model just because it worked in the past? So this is our opportunity to let go of old strategies, let go of some old ways of thinking and say, okay, knowing what I know now, seeing what's working now, and also my new perspective, my new vision, the things that I'm prioritizing, what I want to create in this world. How do I take what I've done and what I currently want to do and refine it into what is working now? And that might take some testing and it may take some time and it sure as hell is going to take some patience, but that is why we are here. That is what makes us a leader in this space. Do you understand? Because when things get hard, guess what most people do? They sit down. They bow out. They step out of the game. They say, oh, that was fun, but now I'm on to this now. Now I'm doing this over here. Yeah, online business was cool, but like, have you heard of cryptocurrency? And that's fine. Like sometimes that's the right move for people. And sometimes people do that because they don't have the staying power, because they don't have the mental fortitude and the level of awareness to realize that this is the game. Your mind is either creating you or destroying you. So if you are resonating with this and you are like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is a season, or I have been in a season or whatever, keep going because you will be made this year. I fully believe that. And that is what's pushing me through. I will be like what I have learned this year and what I have personally endured just in a personal sense and in a business sense. What I have refined, what I have tested, what I have failed is all making me freaking bulletproof. Okay. This is like master's level business entrepreneurship. This is how you learn. This is how you become better, right? Look at any other area in life. How do you become strong as a couple? You navigate really difficult times. How do you become strong physically? You break down your muscle and then you build them back up, and you do that consistently. How do you become strong as a parent? You have a son named Cruz Christopher. Just kidding. He's the best. He is. He's also wild. But you navigate the things. You don't become strong by things being easy. That's not a thing. But what happens is there are people out there, and I'm so guilty of this. I promise you, I'm the most guilty of this, where you come up during a time where it's just easier. Right? Everybody's buying. Everybody's, they have to be home anyway because of COVID, because we're all stuck at home, right? It was just an easier time for online business. And a lot of us, we had a decent foundation. We had a decent level of brand. We knew what we were doing and we capitalized on that moment. And it was like the freaking gold rush. And what happens is you get through that and you think to yourself, oh, well, I'm going to be writing books about business and online business. And you get this false sense of confidence. I mean, some of it is warranted for sure, but like, you forget that at every level, there's prove it moments. At every level, there's different challenges. And by the way, different levels of challenges. At one level, when you first go from 0 to 10K months, there's, navigating those beginner challenges. Navigating those challenges when you're at 6-figure months feels like nothing. It feels like, a walk in the park. But when you're at 6-figure months or 50K to 6-figure months, there's a whole new set of challenges that in your beginning would have taken you out completely. So appreciating how far you've come, but also appreciating that you got a lot further to go, which is such a blessing, but don't fall into the trap of thinking that you're invincible and that you got it all figured out, because you only have it figured out if you dare to stay at the level and settle at the level that you're at now. Like, yeah, if you want to stay where you are and not change a damn thing and just keep doing what you're doing for the rest of your life, that might work. I would still argue things are going to shift and you're still going to have to shift, but you're not listening to this because you want to stay the same. You're listening to this because you have a really big vision. So anyway, stay in there. Stay in the game. You can't fail if you keep playing. That's the thing. I watched, oh my gosh, if you have not watched the David Beckham documentary, go watch it. I'm a big fan of documentaries in general. I love music documentaries. I love sports documentaries. And they all relate so much, in my opinion, to business. And what I love so much about the David Beckham documentary is the ups and downs in his career. Like, he had this incredible come up. He was so dedicated. He devoted the purest definition of all in, right? Like all in on soccer or football. And, had this incredible come up, and then had this, what probably would have been for most people, a career ending mistake, decision, moment that made him one of the most hated men possibly on the planet. Like, if you're a soccer fan, and I didn't know this until I watched the documentary. He was one of the most hated men. Like, they were concerned for their children's lives. They couldn't go anywhere. It was just so wild what he had to deal with because of this one split second decision. And anyway, he navigates that. It comes back around. Like, he's at his, maybe what he would consider like a rock bottom moment, and he rises back up. But like I said, most people in moments like that, they don't stay in the game. They're like, okay, I'm done. I'm the most hated man in the world. You think I can walk back on that field again? You think I can keep doing this? I'm getting death threats. I'm seeing like people are putting effigies of my body like hanging on their porches. This is insane, For us, we get that bent out of shape when somebody leaves a bad comment on a video, right? Like, can you imagine the level of pressure? And just like that's the difference of, I guess, like seeing if you have what it takes, like what, and this is why we've talked about this before, the level of pressure and drama and struggle and challenges and doubt that you can hold makes you a match for more greatness, right? Because with greatness, there's a shadow to everything. So with fame, with being known, with being considered a respected leader in your industry, being one of the greats in your industry also comes with a level of pressure that you either can or cannot hold. It comes with a level of people that love you and that want to love you and want to respect you, and a level of people who can't stand you and never want to stand you and choose to absolutely despise you. Can you hold both of those things? So I see stuff like the David Beckham documentary. And by the way, he had to go through it again, like in another level. And there's cycles to this, right? But you can't fail if you stay in the game. It's all happening for you. And that, like, watching that documentary was so cool because you can see, like, in hindsight, it's so clear, crystal clear. You can see in that documentary when he made that mistake and they lost that game and he was public enemy number one. You can see how that created this kind of warrior in him. It created this level of superhuman, and it hardened him in a sense where it was like, okay, I can handle anything, but it didn't change him as a person, right? Like and it's really cool to see how he navigated that and how he didn't react with people. And he just like took it all in stride. Like he freaking understood the assignment, like it almost was like he was called to this and he was like, okay, this is just part of it. And we only get a small portion of the story, of course, but you can see in hindsight how that made him into the human and into the athlete that could handle so much more than that. And that could create and went on to create so much more than that in one of the greatest names in the history of his sport. So, and don't come at me, I'm not a soccer fan. So that may or may not be true. I mean, surely he's like he's one of the greats, right? Of course he is. He's David Beckham. He's freaking hot. So he's hot. So he's great. But yeah, stay in there. But here's where our minds come in. Because it's really, really easy to be on top of your game and to feel powerful and to do the things that you know you're supposed to do, the things that are going to better you as a person, as a business owner, as, whatever you are trying to create in your lifetime. It's really easy to do that when things are good, isn't it? It's really easy to go to the gym when you are fully rested. And when you're feeling good and when you're on a roll at the gym and you went yesterday and you went the day before and you've been eating well and you're starting to see results. It's like, okay, now we've built momentum. It's really easy in business to show up and be powerful and feel confident and focus on putting out really good energy and doing the small but effective actions in your business that need to happen in order to keep things running, in order to keep selling and keep revenue flowing. It's really easy to do those things when people are buying. It's really easy to date your partner and to be kind to your partner and to go out of your way to do nice things for your partner when you guys are in a good place. It's really easy to play with your kids and to be the sweetest, most patient mom on the planet when they're being good and when you're in a good mood. Like that's for everybody, by the way. That's when even average people look great. It was when things are going great, right? It's when things aren't. It's when we are being tested that you see who really does have what it takes. And it's when you're being tested, no matter in what area of life, that you have to be so cognizant and intentional with the direction that your mind is going. Because it's really, really easy to be creating good things when you're in a good mood and you're feeling good. And again, the positive momentum is building. That's easy. Any idiot can do that. It's when you're in a funk, you failed, people hate you, you're in a bad place, you're in a season that you can prove not only to yourself, but to everybody else that like, whether things are going good or awful, I'm here regardless. Like I have what it takes. I'm not going anywhere. So your mind is either creating you or destroying you. One way, so you got to differentiate these things, right? You got to differentiate what it looks like and what it feels like of a creative mind versus a destructive mind. So when I think about this, I I instantly think of overthinking. That, like, I know that's how it manifests for me. I overthink so much more when I am in a non-winning season, right? That's when it's because I'm doubting myself a little bit more. I'm playing a little bit safer. Because I'm not in a winning season, I'm losing sight of the bigger picture. I'm losing the confidence in the bigger picture. All of that, when you add it up together, is a lack of confidence in myself, which just produces and manifests in this almost incessant overthinking of everything, right? Should I do this? Should I not do this? Why did I do that? Do I do this? Should I go here? Okay, what about this? Okay, that didn't work before. And it, again, it's like, it all has to do with the lack of confidence. That's what it looks like for me. And what's happening here is overthinking is simply allowing your mind to take the wheel, right? But the problem with that is you are not your mind. I am not my mind. We are not our minds. So, and I don't know about you, but there are seasons and moments where my mind changes with the freaking weather sometimes, like based on how I'm feeling that day, how much sleep I've had, what video I randomly just came across on Instagram, the comment that my husband just made to me, how my kid is acting, what a client just did, have I eaten, have I not eaten? And yes, we can build more resilient minds, and we should, and we are, but it'd be like that sometimes where we don't want our mind steering the ship, because then we're at the mercy of whatever the hell circumstance is happening in that moment. That's what we're creating from. That is scary. So we want to have this healthy, I don't know, we want to have a level of awareness where we are paying attention to this, where we can catch this, where we can pay attention to, where is this action stemming from? How long am I thinking about this? Why am I overthinking this? What is it? Why aren't I just moving on this? Like, I got this idea. I know that I should be doing this thing. I'm clearly overthinking it. Why am I overthinking it? What if I just went and did it? In my experience, like, not to say we don't think things through. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm certainly not advocating that you don't think about the actions that you take, but there's a fine line between thinking something through in a way that is supportive of you versus overthinking it in a way that is hurtful to you and what you're trying to create, right? It siphons the positive energy out of it. You're messing with the original idea. That's something that me and Bree talked about in our episode, where you get these ideas and it's really easy to take it and then start chipping away at it with, well, could it be better if we do this? And what about this? We could make more money if we did this, and maybe we do this. And next thing you know, it's been days or weeks that have gone by. You still haven't taken action. Now you've taken the original idea and it's completely warped into something else that has no resemblance at all to the original brilliance that came through for you. In a lot of cases, then it's too late to even do it. Then the ship has sailed. We do this with great ideas, but we also do this with the day-to-day things that are going to build us into who we are. Right? This is why I say your mind is either creating you or destroying you. Because if you are overthinking everything to the point of, okay, what should I eat today? Should I go on that walk? Should I do that workout? Should I make that post? Should I say that thing? Should I record that podcast? Should I reach out to that person? Should I sell this thing? Think not only how much time you're wasting, but again, you're at the mercy of how you're feeling in that moment. So in my opinion, how we fix this, for lack of a better term, or work toward being stronger in this is, in my opinion, getting clear on what are the actions based on what it is that you want to create. Okay. And that's actually where we need to start is what are you creating right now in this season? What version of you are you creating? How are you bettering yourself? How are you bettering your relationship? How are you bettering yourself as a parent or a co-parent? How are you bettering yourself as a leader, as a business owner, as a client, as a clientee, or a mentee or a mentor? How, like, what is that next? We're always growing and evolving. So what is that? Just the next level. We don't even have to think really big here. Think about like a 2% increase of betterment in any area of life or all areas of life. Because if you're thinking that small or that attainable, right? Where it's just like, okay, how can I just be 2% better in this area? You could easily do this across the board. Okay. So I know if I want to increase my health by 2%, then I need to work out 1 to 2 more days a week. Cool. Simple. I know if I want to increase my health by 2% or, around that, I know I need to drink more water. I know that I need to cut out the wine every single night. I know, right. Okay, so you're going to get clear on what those actions are. Same thing in business. If you want to increase your revenue by what you feel like is a good, attainable, but also exciting result, what would that look like? If you want to increase your revenue by 2%, what do you need to do? What kind of offer do you need to put out? How do you need to show up? What actions, basic actions? These aren't even like big things here. These are just like the most simple of actions. What can you do today and moving forward to increase your betterment in that area by just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit? This is how you're going to start gaining traction, right? Because not only is this attainable, but it's not going to be pushing yourself so far that when you fail, you're like, well, I was never able to do that anyway. Right? Like if you've never worked out before and you're like, okay, I want to be a bodybuilder. So I need to not only work out every single day, but twice a day. And I need to cut my calories in half or triple my calories. And I need a trainer and I need all of these things. And you've never worked out before. That's going to be a shock to your system. And the odds of you sticking with that and the odds of you actually becoming a bodybuilder are very, very rare. But again, if you start with like, okay, that's a big vision. I would love to be a bodybuilder. But for now, I'm going to start with losing 10 pounds. Okay, what do I need to do to lose 10 pounds? Cool. I need to cut out that wine. I need to get the gym membership. I'm going to go to the gym. I don't go at all. So I'm going to start going. I'm going to start with 2 days a week. And what's going to happen is when you start doing that and you start getting those simple wins, that is going to build your confidence. And with that level of action, and with that level of clarity, I should say, there's no need for overthinking at that point. You know what you need to do. And then at that point, the job is to not argue with yourself, to not negotiate with yourself. I said this on my stories the other day. The past couple days, I've had to go work out at 4 p.m. I really like working out in the morning. If you can go, like it just, obviously we know, starts your day off right. You get it over with. It's great. But I've had busier mornings the past couple mornings. So I've had to go at 4 p.m. And after a day, like a full day, and I've already mentioned how we're sleeping, by 4 p.m., I'm like ready for bed. Okay. The last thing that I'm excited to do is to go change and drive to the gym and get a really good workout in, But yesterday I was like, okay, I'm going because I skipped Monday. I was like, I've got to go today because if I skip today, then I'm on this like downward cycle for the week, right? Like I know that's the last place that I want to be. I'm so much better of a person when I've got a positive momentum physically. It helps mentally. We know the ripple effect, right? Of working out. So I was just like, just get up out of the chair, get up out of the chair. I was like, just walk downstairs. Okay, just walk in your closet, get out the leggings, put on the leggings. Okay, put on the socks, put on the shoes, put on the hat, get your keys, get some water, walk out the door, get in the car, drive, keep driving, pull into the, no, don't pull into Starbucks. Do not pull into Starbucks. Don't you dare pull into Starbucks. Okay, pull into the parking lot, park, don't leave, stay in the car, don't leave. No, don't scroll your phone. Get out of the car, take a step toward the door, take another step toward the door, keep walking toward the door, open the door, get in the door. It's like, and then next thing you know, you're there and you do the thing. And then what happens on the other side of every action that you don't want to do, but you know is good for you? Without fail, every single time you come out the other side and you're like, I should do that more often. I'm great. Like then you get the endorphins, then you get the confidence of that thing. Now we've started this positive spiral upward of like, okay, I did the thing that I know I should have done, even when I didn't want to. That creates a level of mental fortitude in you that spans and impacts you across many different areas of your life. Same is true in our business, right? But it's when we stop and we negotiate with ourselves and we're like, okay, so like yesterday, it could have gone so different. I could have been like, instead of getting up out of the chair, been like, oh man, let me just see what's happening in my stories real quick. Okay. Oh crap. I haven't checked Voxer in a minute. Let me check Voxer. Oh man, I've already lost 5 minutes. Now I need to get ready like instantly and I'm already kind of running late. Man, I really am tired. Sleep over everything. It wouldn't be bad to skip another day. I'm fine. It'd be actually, I really should take a bath instead. I'm kind of in a bad mood. Now I'm thinking and it's going into overthinking, and at the same time that I'm now making and finding and creating excuses for myself to stay at the level that I'm staying at now, or that I'm at now, when I don't want to be at this level anymore, I want to be better. Not only is that happening, but now I'm wasting my precious time. And if you think about how many times you do that, with how many decisions you overthink every single day, you very easily can overthink your whole freaking life away. Quite literally. And same is true in our business, right? When I want to put out the thing, or I want to say the thing in the podcast, or I want to start the podcast, or I want to get the guest on the podcast or whatever, I'm like, yeah, but maybe they don't want to be on there. And what if they say no? Or what if I put that thing out there and it doesn't work again? It didn't work last time. What if it doesn't work now? And what if like this happens and this happens? Versus if I just say, hey, I love that idea. Okay, you know what? I'm going to put it out there. And I put it out there, and whatever happens, happens. It works. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter. But by the time I am now on the other side of that, and I've gained the wisdom, or I've gained the result of whatever that action is, I'm now on the other side of that, a new version of myself, versus if I hadn't taken that action, I'd still be sitting there overthinking it. Right? This is what it looks like when you get a really good idea, and instead of doing it instantly, you're like, yeah, but it actually makes sense to do this next month because we're really busy this week and blah, blah, blah. And like, okay, every once in a while, there's a time and a place to put something off, right? Every once in a while, it does make sense to wait until next month, because then the kids aren't in school, or they are in school, or whatever. Like rarely this does make sense. But the amount of women I have seen who have all the potential in the world, and they have an incredible idea, and they come to me with the idea, and they're like, yeah, but we're going to Disney next week. And then, Cooper is in pre-K, and he's probably going to do like Mother's Day out. And then like Brian has this thing, and I'm probably going to go with him to this thing. And then like, I'm really into Pilates right now and I really want to like get certified just in case this doesn't work out. But the only time that I could get certified is in October. So maybe I'll wait until June 2027 to make this happen because I feel like in June 2027, the kids will be in college. And then it's like, okay, this is what we do. I do it too. Okay, we all do it. But this is where we get to look at our mind and the way that we're thinking, and we get to step back a minute and say, hey, is this line of thinking creating what I want to create, or is it destroying and plummeting and stomping on every dream and vision that I have for myself? Because often it's very, very clear, right? So that's it. It all comes back to self-awareness. It all comes back to self-awareness. You can bullshit yourself all day long. If you numb out all day and you're getting your kicks from watching what Taylor Swift is up to, and you are setting big visions and allowing the endorphins of just setting the vision be enough for you without actually going out and getting it. But then again, you're keeping yourself so distracted and busy with other things that you don't even realize the level at which you are destroying your precious time and ability to make this thing happen for yourself. Then you'll live a whole life where you're just blissfully unaware. And some people, the average person does that. That's like status quo 101. Keep yourself numb. Don't really focus and pay attention to what decisions you're making and where those decisions are coming from and what the ripple effect of those decisions are going to create for you. Don't really look at any of that. Just keep yourself focused on other people and judging other people and idolizing other people. Again, get your kicks from what Taylor's doing over here. Let that be the highlight of your week, and you won't even notice that you've been running around in a circle for the past 10 years. Feel free. But I don't think anybody that's listening to this wants to do that. So that means that you need to pull your head out of your ass and you need to be very, very honest with yourself. And sometimes that's not fun. And I can say that because I do it every day of my life. But, and it's not fun. It's not fun to say, hey, you are literally like being your own worst enemy right now. You are self-sabotaging right now. Wake up, snap out of it, get your butt moving, put the glass of wine down, put the phone down. Idolize yourself enough to want more for yourself. Please. That's not fun. Because that means that you need to do things that the average person doesn't do. And when the average person is everybody around you doing the same thing, being complacent with the same things, you feel like a crazy person. And you look like the boring person trying to do good things for yourself. And in the moment, that's kind of sucky. But you know when it's not sucky? When you then become the person people are idolizing because you had the level of self-awareness to pull yourself out of that complacent, weird spiral, overthinking, not doing shit with your life vibe. You got out of that. You created something for yourself because you focused and made sure that with the way that you're thinking and the way that you're acting, you're actually creating versus destroying. And you actually made something of yourself and of your life. And then you're like, okay, here's the payoff. But you got to get through it first, right? You got to get through the uncomfortable phase. It's not going to come overnight. And that's the thing that the average person will not do. This is why everybody is average. There's a reason why they're called average, because that's where most people are. Because they want the quick thing. They want to make something great of themselves. They want to be a leader. They want to have a super successful business or be the person that people look up to. They have great ideas and they have the potential. but they are not willing to walk through shit on their way to greatness. What everybody has to do. If you've never stepped foot into a gym and you want to be an athlete, or you want to be a bodybuilder, or you want to be elite in that space, you've got to get really sore. And there's going to be a season where you have no results and you're wondering, why am I doing this and making these sacrifices when everybody else is having the best time, or at least it seems. Same thing in your business. When you want to do something big and you want to make a name for yourself, you want 7-figure, 8-figure, whatever business, there are seasons where you are walking through shit. You don't have the results. You don't have the accolades. You don't have the name for yourself. You have to go through the building phase. And you have to be willing to walk through that faithfully and stay the course until you come out the other side. That's where 99.9% of people fall off. Everybody talks a big game. Not everybody can walk the walk. This is why the 1% is only 1%, because nobody is willing to do that. But are you? Are you? I am. And I'm not going anywhere. God willing. Love you. See you next week. Bye.